Hello everyone and welcome to a book talk for Parasite by Mira Grant. Now, I am cold, so I am going to put this down and I will insert an image of the book, but yeah, I'm cold and I'm just trying to snuggle in. Okay, Parasite by Mira Grant. This was originally published in 2013. This is part of a horror science fiction trilogy, and Parasite is book number 1 and the trilogy is called Parasitology. There was an audiobook available when I read this book, and it was narrated by Christine Lakin. I'm sure I said that wrong. And it was 16 hours and 6 minutes on standard one-time speed. The main character we are following is Sally. Now, what has happened is basically at the start of the book, you find out that Sally is in a coma. She was in a car accident, and then one day she just bolts upright, however the heck you say it. She sits up, okay? And it's like, what the heck is going on? But she's having trouble understanding people, and people are having trouble understanding her, and so she has to relearn how to speak, relearn how to walk, and do a bunch of stuff. Well, as the story goes on, there are some people who are fine one moment, and then all of a sudden they're zombie-like. It's kind of a zombie story, but involves, like the book title of the book says, parasites. So it's like these worms that are inside that have migrated to your brain and are making you what you are. And for whatever reason, they will attack other people, and they seem to have a draw towards Sally, which is kind of weird. Because Sally is a survivor of this, and something else, she is involved in this organization that basically monitors her health, and they put her through a bunch of testing and things like that. So it's kind of a medical facility, but it's more of a science facility rather than like a hospital or doctor's office. So it's more science-based, and then they're just kind of studying and watching her. So one thing that you do learn is that Sally basically had a big personality shift from before the coma. There's Sally before the coma and Sally after the coma. Completely different. Sally after the coma is much nicer. Sally before the coma was basically a bitch. Okay, that's the best way to put it. More blunt than anything. Hardly anyone liked her, even her family, and was just kind of like, you're mean before the coma and now you're nice. Very different. Post-coma, which is the Sally that we're following, and then she reflects back. And she cannot remember life before the coma. Her family does, obviously, but she cannot. In the life that we are following, where it is actually Sally, she does have a boyfriend, and he is a doctor at a hospital. And people start, it's kind of like a reanimation. Like there's this one scene where this person's out walking, and all of a sudden they stumble, and they stop, and then all of a sudden they're like a zombie. So they seemed normal, and then a couple seconds later, they're zombie-like. And it's really weird. And animals can sense this, like dogs and other things, creatures can sense this change happening in people. And Sally and her boyfriend are trying to figure out what's going on. And there is this scientific organization that's kind of responsible, that you do learn right away, that is responsible for more than likely what's going on. But are they the good guys and trying to help people, or did someone break off and they're the bad guys, and so the organization's trying to find the bad guy? What's going on? So there's a bunch of secrets, a bunch of things that need to be revealed. There's a reunion of kinds that does come up later, and cryptic messages end up being sent, and things like that. So it's just, I don't know, it was very interesting. There's really not much I can say. One, it's a horror, and so you do want to find these twists and turns by yourself. And two, this is the start of a trilogy, and so this is more world building and setting things up. So that's kind of all I can say about this. Out of this edition was 502 pages. So it's mostly character building, a little bit of world building, starting to try to understand the scientific experiments that are going on, and things like that. So it's not like the coronavirus, or anything where it's this bug that makes you sick. This is something that is inside of people that that reanimates you and basically turns you into a zombie. It's really weird. And then you have this other group of scientists that are trying to find a cure. And that's the story. A lot of world building, a lot of scientific people building, learning who people are, things like that in the first book. So I think the plot will develop a lot more. Stuff is starting to hit the fan, things like that. And a lot of horror books, some people that you think are one person turns out to be not quite who you think they originally are. And some people turn out better, some people for the worse. So yeah, it's your kind of standard horror when it comes to some of the tropes and things like that. But it was interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I love the writing under Mira Grant. I really enjoy her horror sci-fi, personally. And so again, I can't stress it enough. There's a lot of world building. Just be patient. It did feel like it dragged a little bit at times, but in my opinion, it was understandable because you've got the character building, you have the world building, you have the science background, learning about the background, you have letters from the past, you have, all this stuff to help you understand kind of what's going on now and setting you up to move forward. And there's this one thing I want to say, but it would be a big spoiler, so I can't say that. Ugh. Frustrates me because I really want to say this one thing, but I can't because it does involve the parasite. Okay. There is one thing that I underlined, so let me go ahead and read that. It says, home isn't always a good place to be. And then I have a note that says it should be, because it definitely should be. Your home should be a good place to be. Okay, so that's all I can say, especially with it being a horror, without spoiling anything. So let's go into your content and trigger warning and representations. As far as your content and your trigger warnings, I didn't really write anything down. I mean, you have someone in a car accident. You do have scientific terms. And I would not even say there's gore in this. I mean, there are some body descriptions, but not to the point that I would say it's gory. So, you do have talk, and this can make someone queasy. You do have talk of a tapeworm, okay? And that's pretty much the only content or trigger warning I could do, so I could come up with. As far as your representation, you do have the following. You have amnesia, anaphylaxis is mentioned, dyslexia, someone is Ukrainian, you have someone that is Irish, you also have someone who is Chinese, you have someone who is in a wheelchair, you have someone who is Indian, and I'm not talking about Native American, I am talking about someone from India, so someone from India, an Indian. And then you have LGBT, you have male, and you have female. Mira Grant is really good about including representation and making it feel very natural. Not feeling like it's being pushed and like it's trying to fit any sort of a checklist or agenda. It's just very natural, and I love it. All right, so now let's get into the word usage. Again, please keep in mind the edition that I read was 502 pages. So we have the following words. This way you know if something passes your threshold of tolerance. We have smartass once. The word God 8 times used in religious context. Bitch 5. Hell 19. Damn 9. Shit 13. Dick 2. Breast 2, but it is not used in a sexual term. It's like laying your head against someone's breast. Or it was used as something like taking a baby up to someone's breast to breastfeed. So definitely not done in a sexual manner. Okay, continuing on, we have the word fuck 9 times. God 15, not in a religious context. Piss twice. Bloody 3. Twit once. Screw once. The name Christ once, not done religiously. Prudish once. Balls twice. Bastard twice. The phrase goddamn once. the name Jesus once, not in a religious context. Virgin once. And then the R slur was used, which in this case it's used as the growth of the item. So it's used, and I'm going to kind of quote it from this. So it's like the growth of the tapeworm was retarded. So it was delayed, it was held back. That's how it is used. So it's not used as a slur. More commonly today it is used as a slur, but in the book it is not used as a slur. And that is actually the true definition of that word. The other representation I did forget is you do have someone mentioning sciatica pain. That was interesting because I do struggle with that. So that was cool to see. Okay, continuing on with the words, we have dumbass twice, ass face once, sperm once, the word suicide twice, nothing depicted on page, but the word is used, bullshit twice, ass 3, whore once, asshole twice, and the word masturbating once. And those are the word usages. So let me know, have you read Parasite by Mira Grant? Have you read this entire series? If you have read this, is this a book? Was this book good enough in your opinion that you will be continuing on with this series if you have not yet? Or was this not for you? Is this something that you would be interested in or not? And if you do like Mira Grant's writing and have read more than just the Parasitology series, what has been your favorite by Mira Grant thus far? Definitely let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.